And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Before we get into some of these international headlines, I just have to show you this gorgeous Live Now look there in Lower Manhattan at the Freedom Tower, One World Trade there in the twilight and dusk. It's a little after the 8 o'clock hour in the Big Apple. But just wanted to show you that. We have lots more stories to get to, including updates on the Russia-Ukraine war. Fox's Jennifer Griffin filing this report. Let's listen.
Russia is stepping up its attacks on Ukraine's eastern front, putting pressure on Kharkiv, the country's second biggest city. But now the Ukrainians have a new way to fight back. President Biden giving the green light for attacks inside Russian territory using American-made missiles. A senior U.S. official tells Fox this is a limited policy shift for the purpose of defending Kharkiv. But at a two-day NATO meeting in Prague, Secretary of State Antony Blinken hinted there could be more coming.
The stakes couldn't be higher at this moment. Going forward, we'll continue to do what we've been doing, which is, as necessary, adapt and adjust.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been asking for this authorization for months, and now he says he'll press for the White House to allow Ukraine to use other weapons, including Western-made F-16s, to take the fight to Russia.
They can stay just on their territory through the borderline, just attack us and kill. And this is something not normal.
Ukraine's military was low on ammunition and not able to push back against Russian attacks for nearly 7 months. And now Moscow says it will keep pushing ahead with its spring offensive.
Russian forces are displacing the enemy from their positions. Advancement is taking place in all tactical directions.
The White House says American long-range tactical missiles can only be used by Ukraine to hit military targets inside Russia, not civilian infrastructure. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
Jennifer, thanks so much. Jennifer also tweeting this, saying, "This is being described to me by a senior U.S. official as a limited policy shift related to Kharkiv, not a broad shift in policy that would open up the use of U.S. weapons inside Russia writ large. This is Kharkiv specific," she says that she is told. She also says this, that another senior U.S. official told our White House team, quote, "The president recently directed his team to ensure that Ukraine is able to use U.S.-supplied weapons for counter-fire purposes in the Kharkiv region so Ukraine can hit back against Russian forces that are attacking them there." So in the meantime, let's talk about this major development in the Russian-Ukraine war. We're going to do that with our friend at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. That's John Hardie. He joins me. John, good to see you yet again. Thanks for being with us on this Friday night. Is this too little, too late? What if this had been approved 2+ years ago? Would the nature of the battlefield be different, do you think?
Well, thanks for having me on. It's certainly long overdue. I think this is another instance where Biden has done the right thing, but as you say, months or years too late. So it is significant. It'll allow Ukraine, as your friend from Fox News reported, to return fire over the border against Russian artillery systems. Before Ukrainian artillery crews operating, say, HIMARS rocket artillery could not conduct that counter-battery fire. It'll also allow Ukraine to hit Russian force concentrations before they cross the border, so that Ukraine isn't just sort of playing catch and it's kind of sitting on its hands until they attack.
You know, Politico first reported this, our friend Lara Seligman did. She described this, the Biden administration has, the two words were used, quietly and secretly given Ukraine permission to do this, to strike inside of Russia using U.S.-made weapons. Why does it have to be quiet and secret?
Well, I'm not sure it's all that quiet, seeing as they, which immediately leaked it to half the White House reporting staff. But I think it's just one way they try to limit escalation by doing these things through the press. It's possible that if they extend the sort of permission to include longer range missiles like ATACMS, it won't be something that's immediately leaked. We may see ATACMS strikes just start to happen, and then it'll be leaked to the press. But we're not quite at that stage yet.
Okay. You know, John, according to Jennifer Griffin's reporting, senior officials describe this as limited in its scope. Does limited mean temporary? Is there going to be a point in time where the Biden administration, the Biden Pentagon says, okay, that's enough?
By limited, I think what they mean is the geographic area. So they're really focused on the area around Kharkiv. This is the city where Russia recently launched an offensive in the Kharkiv region. The capital is Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city. The Russians have been trying to push toward that city. They've advanced maybe 6 to 8 kilometers into that region, depending on where you look at the map. And so Ukraine is trying to blunt that offensive. They've already done a pretty good job of that. Okay. So really the time to do this would have been weeks ago. I think it's also limited in the sense of the weapons. So they can use HIMARS, as I mentioned. They can use M777 tube artillery systems. They can't use longer range, 300-kilometer range missiles, the ATACMS, to strike within internationally recognized Russian territory.
I see. John, just lastly, too, I wanted to ask, is the writing on the wall for the Biden administration, does it spell out how concerned they are that Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, could fall to Russia? Is that why this decision, do you think, is being made right now, because the concern is so great about Kharkiv?
There may have been some who were concerned about the city's fall. I think it's good to be cautious. I think the immediate trigger for this decision was a request by Ukrainian officials after the offensive started. They've made these requests in public before, but reportedly that formal request was submitted in private a few days after the offensive started. I think, from my perspective, there's very little chance Kharkiv falls. The city, meaning Ukraine or Russia, has concentrated not nearly enough forces in that area to try to take Kharkiv. Maybe 30,000 or so dedicated to that offensive. They'd probably need a good 100,000 to try to take the city, and even then, I think given the state of their forces in terms of quality, they'd have a tough time.
All right, John Hardie with FDD. We're going to have to leave it at that. Thanks so much for coming on. Have a good weekend.
Okay, thank you.